Brandon, I've had to avoid the topic for the majority of this show. As much as I don't want to acknowledge that there was a college football game here in the state of Iowa this last weekend, there was. Drake football played. So did Northern Iowa, but it's some great NAIA football around the state. But for the majority of the people, they might have been watching the game called the Cyhawk game. And disappointing loss for Iowa State, 20-13 against that team out east in Iowa. Lot to take away from it for me personally. Defense was great. That's what hurts. And not that Iowa's offense is necessarily scaring anybody right now. And hey, I'm pulling for Brian Ferentz to find a way to get to that. What's he got to get? About 325 points. They got to make a bowl game. They got to get 7 wins, 25 a game. Defensive touchdowns count. So we're happy for him. Do you know Sickos committee, Brandon?
Absolutely.
You do know the Sickos?
I love the Sickos.
They, I'm a big fan personally of the show with The Price is Right. One of my favorite shows of all time. And so they have this thing called Cliffhanger, where, this Cliff guy they guess prices, and this guy goes up, and if he has too much, he goes over the cliff. They built a Brian Ferentz cliffhanger this year. And so it makes the music as he puts up his 20 points a game. And he's not there yet. Brian Ferentz might have some job issues. But for Iowa State, offensively, they didn't get it done. Special teams, field goal block, and pretty ugly. I mean, for Matt Campbell, a little surprised as well after the game to hear him, make a comment that he felt that was the best game they've played in that series against Iowa under his tenure, which, to each their own. I just fully disagreed with that. I've seen him play a little better in other games. It was a tough loss. And for Iowa State, after an encouraging week 1 win, I think it was a winnable game on Saturday, and they just could not find a way to get it done. And kudos to Iowa's defense. It really is a top-notch unit. I will never rip them. They are quality.
I'll rip them a little bit. I mean, they played Utah State and Iowa State.
All right.
It is what it is. They're good. Don't get me wrong. Are they so good that that's a top 25 team in the country?
Oh, no, I know that offense drags them down. But I'll give credit to their defense. And shoot, I don't even think their special teams is anything great. But anytime they play Iowa State, they look incredible. So
funny how that works. Huh?
It's absolutely incredible. But I guess special teams has never been an issue. So yeah, you got that for me. Look at that beautiful cliff.
Here we go.
Look at that. Yeah.
I mean, he's not going very fast.
I'm telling. Isn't that iconic? I just howled when I saw that. So I just to Brian, I'm pulling for you, buddy. Go get your cash, dude.
I mean, really, the goal has got to be he finds a way to get to 326.
Oh, that's perfect,
just enough
right?
to keep this job. Obviously, not good by any stretch of the imagination, but.
I want Iowa to make a bowl. I want them to go 7-6. 327. Hey, no, I got to see this keep going. This is it's such good entertainment. Iowa's winning, and their fans don't care because they're so ticked off at this Brian Ferentz experiment. They can't take it anymore. And since his dad happens to be the head coach, and he's not going to do diddly. He's not going to do anything. So, why? So, I just find that really interesting. But at the same time, I mean, look, they found a way to win. And for Iowa State, I mean, I was a little surprised too. I mean, and granted, it's Twitter, granted, it's message boards. These are people hiding behind screens, but a lot of hate towards Matt Campbell. I was a little surprised. I saw a couple fire him. And I'm not even remotely going to go there, but it does show how absurd this sport is, that this guy was on top of the earth 2.5 years ago, and arguably the hottest name or coaching commodity, not just even in college. I mean, NFL, he was drawing a decent amount of interest. And a couple of years later, and now he is just, trying to find a way. And they've got a little sneaky tough game next week against Ohio, but, they need to find some weapons for Rocco Bright. He had a bad pick 6, but I thought he hung in there considering the youth of him. Defense will keep him in games, but even the kicking's better this year on special teams. But Iowa State's got they're going to have to find a way. I think there's still a team that could potentially make a bowl game, but they're going to have to get creative, and they're going to have to win next week if they want to see that path.
So let me ask you this, because it is a very interesting turn of events, with that Brock Purdy, Breece Hall team just a couple of years ago. It seemed like he was the guy who was going to get poached. I even heard a couple of Nebraska fans throw his name out there at the beginning of their coaching search last year. And now all of a sudden I saw the same message boards that you did. I heard someone call him Soup Man. So I were fans frustrated. And so what does it have to look like for them to make a move? Because I got to imagine he is a good coach. I think he's proven that. So and as a Nebraska fan, it's a very cautionary tale. If you're gonna fire a good coach, you got to have a plan to go get a great coach.
Yeah, well, and I think from Iowa State's perspective, it'd be idiotic. Let's say last year was a disappointing year. They finished bottom of the Big 12. And, no one, I wasn't even fazed by it. He has done Campbell's done so much good work at Iowa State that I view that as a place that you can have a couple bad seasons, whether it's fair or not, because our history dictates that's just how it is, that we're traditionally not a good school. That said, he has risen that level of expectation. That's a testament to him. And look, if they have another season where they underperform, I can't believe I'm saying this. I mean, next year, they'd be crazy. Not this year, no way. But next year, there will be. I think that seat will heat up a little bit just because, back-to-back losing seasons anywhere is not going to be necessarily a fun situation. You could be at Vanderbilt. It's not a fun situation. Kansas, it's not a fun deal. So, for those Iowa State fans, I tell them, right now, go jump in a lake, get a swim in, relax, whatever. But I'm not blind to it either. I wasn't even necessarily mad that they lost or I mean, I was more disappointed in his comments afterward about kind of defending certain things. And I'm like, what are you doing? Just kind of man up and say, we didn't get it done. There's nothing wrong with that. No one would have been fazed with to say, well, this is the best we've played in the Cyhawk game. No, it isn't. You guys have looked a lot better. 2019 when two guys run into each other on a punt return that cost us a game in Jack Trice. They played well that game. That was the worst part about that one. They played really well. I mean, last year they won. It wasn't pretty, but they did win in Kinnick. That to me is a little more impressive. They've gone to OT with them a couple times. They were way more competitive in those games. They weren't competitive for the majority of the afternoon. And the fact that it was only a one-score game to me was a little bit of a miracle. So those are the type of comments that can get you in trouble as a coach. And he might fully believe it, but look, he rightfully was called out on it by a few people in the press, and obviously the message boards had a little more vocal in terms of how they felt.
And I'm right there with you. It at this stage in his tenure at Iowa State, it feels bad to kind of take these moral victories. And you're right. Last year, give him a pass. He lost, Iowa State's all-time leading passer in Brock Purdy, lost a great running back in Breece Hall, lost a lot of great talents. I mean, my gosh. So obviously rebuilding that team isn't easy, especially with not great recruiting ties in Iowa State. 2 years, probably, and especially with having to navigate all the off-season commotion as well. I think that probably gives him a pass, but I do think he's got to perform not the worst in the conference, especially with these newer schools like Houston and West Virginia struggling, and I already said Houston. That's how bad Houston is. You got to outplay Houston.
Got to. Yeah, are they the new Kansas?
They might be.
They could be,
But there's certainly lots to talk about with Houston coming up. But, man, so the bar is pretty low. Like, I don't think he needs to get to a bowl game, but like I said, if he does miss a bowl game, doesn't get more than 3 or 4 wins on the season, he's going to be pretty warm next year. And I gotta hope that Iowa State has a plan to kind of figure out what kind of candidate are they looking for. And
yeah, and I'm not going to go there yet. I think we find a way to get it, figured out, whether that's hopefully this year or next year. And Jamie Pollard, the AD, I think is going to have a pretty long leash as well. They seem to have a pretty good working relationship. So, for some reason, Iowa State has a losing season this year. God forbid on that. God forbid they were to do it again next year. I don't think he'd leave yet. I think they would let Coach Campbell continue to try to figure it out. If you had like 4 straight or 5 straight, I just can't envision a scenario where there'd be any different. That program, kids aren't going to want to come there anymore if they're not winning.